These are the voyages of SV Prism. The crew on board are searching for exotic landscapes and foreign cultures as they sail their 33-foot sailboat beyond horizons. Leaving Mazatlan, looking back, I'm really glad we stopped. It was really interesting to see, having never visited interior Mexico, and from other people that have, I guess Mazatlan resembles more what interior Mexico, where there's, so far we've only really been to like fishing villages, where pretty much if you're born in a fishing village, you basically become a fisherman. There's a lot more Western society here. No, I think it's a must stop for anyone that's that's going to Mexico and actually wants to experience Mexico. Just don't leave shit out in your boat to get stolen, and I think you're fine. I mean, I think everyone that's had issues is just either lazy about it or naive. So if you're just aware of the situation, I don't see any issues. Just about to cross us. He's right there. Oh, right where the pulpit is. Again, this is a super wide angle lens, so he doesn't look very close, but I mean, he got within about 150 yards. I mean, some people will say that's plenty of enough room. To me, that's just unnecessarily close.
There's another one behind him.
I know.
Every time.
Very nice otherwise. And
saw a mola mola. Wind's nice, seas are nice. It's just.
You think the wind's gonna keep up throughout the night? Probably not. Oh, big whale right there.
Oh! Two big whales. Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa.
Two whales. The whales. Wildlife. Marine life!
Just don't breach on us.
No, they did the dive.
Behind me, that's what 500,000 people look like from the sea. Pretty good glow. To my starboard side, we have Oleada, and Shannon's behind me reading a book, and we're still jamming along. The wind actually is starting to pick up a little bit more, so there might be hope for tonight's sail after all. I thought it was going to totally die, but the northwesterly component kicked back in, and we're started back up.
Good morning. We're coming up to Isla Isabela, and the sun is rising behind me. We left Mazatlan yesterday afternoon, and it started off as what I would call perfect sailing conditions, and it was too good to be true, and should have known for a night passage, because right as it was my turn to go to sleep, the wind kind of died and the seas picked up and it was all washy, rolly. John, bless his heart, he stayed up for as long as he could, and it was my turn. And my watch was extremely uneventful, with a lot of slow wind doing 2.5 to 3 knots and rolling, and the swell died down since last night, kind of, but.
Sailing up to Isabela, it kind of reminded me of the island from Lost, if you ever watched that show, where it looked kind of ominous and kind of scary, but really the scary feel kind of feels like anything could live there. Very wild, very, very untouched, which is exactly what it is.
So sailing up onto Isla Isabela, you know, you just see these huge jagged rocks coming up out of the ocean, and you're just like, whoa, whoa, and like just you saw the birds miles away, just like circulating. The frigates were up in the thermals going crazy. So you already knew that there was going to be a lot of animals, but when you got closer and the rock structures came into visibility, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Jurassic Park came into, like, the theme song started in my head, because it seriously felt like we were sailing into that opening scene. I think it was in the second Jurassic Park, with like the crazy rock structures and the birds and
All right, well, we made it to Isla Isabela. Holy crap.
What?
I'm talking to myself. I'm doing an on-camera thing. Gosh, just won't shut up nowadays. Anyways, made it to Isla Isabela. It was a long 20-hour sail. We sailed most of the way. I think we had to motor, shouldn't say had to, but we chose to motor for about like 2 hours of it. 2 or 3 hours, I'll check the log. Anyways, we made it. Kind of groggy, only working off about 4 hours of sleep right now. But I have to say, this place is pretty incredible looking. This is not our normal thing to be this close into shore, especially on a kind of a crappy anchorage, but this was really the only option. The next option out beyond the other boats, so Oleada is right here, and there's another boat over here which is really close to the rocks over there. I wouldn't want to be there anyways. But anyways, because of them being there, the next step off, it like shelves off to like 100 feet. So there's no going out there, and it's rockier than there. So at least we have a little bit of protection in this bay. Above me, there are thousands of frigates and boobies. There's boobies everywhere. But so far, this place looks amazing, and I can't wait to explore it. I think the diving's going to be really good too. There's whales breaching off right off our bow. Jess and Josh still haven't really, I think, figured out what they want to do with their hook yet. I think if they swung towards us, they would swing over our anchor, which is that there's a little orange buoy we put in case we snag a rock. But anyways, the anchoring is going to be kind of I think, an ongoing thing here. Get here earlier in the day, luckily we did, just because of time on our side with good wind. But I can't imagine trying to do this with the sun going down. It would really suck, actually.
While we were anchored, a pod of humpback whales decided to give us a visit. And they were literally 50 yards off of the back of our boat. And we sat there and just watched these humpbacks do these like rolls, and they're diving, and it was just really cool. Then of course, you know, the tour guides load up their pangas, and then they go out and they look at the whales, and that kind of ruins it. But Jess really wanted to get up close and personal, so she jumped on her paddleboard and went out there. But by the time they got out there, the tour boats scared off all the whales and they left. But for a while there, we had whales right in our backyard, literally off our back porch, if you want to call it that. and we could hear them singing and splashing, and it was so cool.
Isla Isabela is known for good diving, at least in that part of the coast, because diving's not really a thing on mainland Mexico for some seasons. And Isla Isabela is so wild still. There's a lot of wildlife that has been eradicated from the coast, still alive and thriving on Isla Isabela. When we first got there, we were really excited to do some diving, actual scuba diving. When we got to the anchorage, the water was clear, and we were so kind of just wanted to mellow out that Shannon and Jess did a quick snorkel around the boat, had a good time with that, and we just assumed that this water was going to stay like this the entire time.
It is because Isla Isabela that we have changed our rules of diving. So the day we got there, the water was crystal clear. You could see straight down to the bottom. It was just gorgeous. But we were pretty tired from our overnight passage, so we kind of just jumped in for a little bit, swam, checked out a little, and then we were like, oh, we're kind of tired. We'll just do this tomorrow. And of course, the next day, the visibility was not clear. We had lost pretty much all visibility, and we were heartbroken because that first day with the clear visibility, I mean, the diving could have been phenomenal. Isla Isabela is a World Heritage Site and is a nesting ground for thousands of birds.
There's a big camp on shore in the main cove that you go into. It's not deep enough that you can actually sail into that part. You have to take your dinghy. But on this beach, the fishermen have kind of set up camp. They have a special use permit to be able to fish there in certain seasons. That's all fish camp when you kind of show up. It's also a staging ground for any scientific research going on island as well. Isla Isabela hosts a number of species of all kinds of birds and reptiles and bugs. I'm not smart enough to be able to name them all off. But it's known for its frigates and it's known for its boobies that roost there and nest there. And it's also known for, the birds there are not very skittish of humans. People kind of classify Isla Isabela kind of like the Galapagos, where it's, I guess, remote enough off the coast that these birds were never hunted or treated badly, so they have no reason to fear humans. And it's pretty cool to be able to just walk up to a bird and just check you out and like be cool with you. I mean, you can't, obviously we don't want to push our boundaries with this or even at all. I mean, as cruisers, as people, we want to give them some kind of boundaries where, you know, we don't want to scare them off or try to chase them by trying to pet them. Give them some space, but it's really cool just to be able to be within 2 or 3 feet of these animals that normally would never even let you be 20 feet next to them. Where generally you're looking through these things with binoculars or a telephoto lens, where you can put a wide angle lens and basically get right next to them, which is really cool. This is truly incredible. They weren't lying about these birds. They are so not afraid of humans. It's not even funny. I have a green-footed booby here. I mean, I'm within, this is a wide angle lens, so I'm within 2 2 or 3 feet of him. And he just doesn't even care. It's really, really cool to see these birds so close up and personal. Generally they're so far away from you, they're up in the sky hunting and everything like that, and you just never get to see them close. It's really, really interesting. But yeah, he's right there. Stop close like him. Hey, buddy. He's right there. I'm within a foot of his face.
We were warned by other cruisers that Isla Isabel stinks. As in, the smell of bird poo is beyond imaginable. And we must have gotten really lucky because we did not get that smell at all. It was actually quite reasonable for the amount of birds all around, all the time. So depending on what time of year it is, there are either fishermen or researchers on the island. And the researchers, I think, are there a lot longer than the fishermen are. And they're doing studies on climate change. They're there seeing the difference in sea life coming back and retreating, and also studying all the different types of birds and reptiles on the island.
On the island, there are lots of different trails that you can take as cruisers or as visitors. And there is a perimeter trail, which basically goes around the entire perimeter of the island, which takes a long time, I've heard. And one part of the island is extremely steep, so it was more of an advanced hike that we weren't quite set off to do. So we decided to do the bisection trail, which basically goes straight through the center of the island to the other side of the island, which actually goes to the other anchorage too. And we kind of wanted to see what that other anchorage looked like. And the other anchorage, by the way, there are pinnacles in it, which that is the anchorage known for the best scuba diving. And so we set out on this hike, and it's actually a pretty simple hike. There is a little bit of vertical climb to it, but you just basically go straight down on the other side to rejuvenate yourself so you don't get too tired.
And there's so much wildlife. The birds, I mean, the smell's a little bad, but it's not too bad. And the lizards and the birds, I mean, they just don't care. You can walk straight up to them. But I don't think we should stand still long because I think...
Mosquitoes coming out,
yeah. Let's keep going.
In the center of this hike, you go by a lake or a large pond, whatever you want to call it. But this lake is, it's surrounded by mangroves, and these mangroves are littered with frigates. And the frigates obviously poop a lot. And before, on our side of the island at least, the wind was kind of, I think, blowing all this smell to another part of the island we were not at.
Not only was it infested with mosquitoes, but it stunk. The only thing that pushed you past it was the fact that you got distracted about this bird here, this bird there, iguana there. And so that helped you push through.
And then once we push past the lake, you actually go down a cliff to the other part of the island, which is really beautiful.
Once we got to the other side of the island, it was worth it. The hike wasn't long, it wasn't exerting, and the views on the other side were just phenomenal.
You can tell that it would be just a gorgeous, gorgeous anchorage, but when we got there, it was very clear we made the right decision, where it was very rough, and it would have been, I don't know if it would have been actually doable as an anchorage in those conditions. Definitely, I don't think safe, especially because the holding, just like the other anchorage, is notorious for being rocky and not good. So we made the right decision in going to the other anchorage.
There was those giant rock structures that we had sailed past on our way in, and to see them from land point was just breathtaking. And we timed it right with the low tide, and we actually got to see a blowhole. It wasn't like a
spectacular blowhole, but it was still fun to watch the tide come in and out of those rocks. When we were on the other side of the island, we got a big kick out of watching the blue-footed boobies walk. They kind of had this waddle dance, and Jess and I tried our hardest to imitate this. And I think we got pretty close, but we were just cracking up watching these birds do this little waddle dance. And we ended up calling it the booby dance. And then Jess and I decided to do the booby dance. And looking at the footage, we looked like total goofballs, which is pretty much exactly how the blue-footed boobies look anyways. So we really enjoyed watching all those birds. Let's all do the booby dance.
Funny. Oh, dude, that one roaming in the back of that is hilarious. You see that, Josh?
We're at the old research center, and we have found some big spiders.
Oh, you don't like spiders just as much as I do.
I just don't like them in my place of home. Out in nature, I don't mind.
Oh my god.
I am just like overly excited about the wildlife here because iguanas are so cool. Look at this. Yeah, dude, you have an eye boogie. I wish I could help you. You're so cool.
Wait, okay, well, I've never cooked a portobello, so how do we cook them?
So I figured we could just cook the ground beef, and then once it's cooked, we'll just get whatever else we want to throw in them, and then turn them up onto like a cooking sheet.
Got it.
And throw some olive oil and deliciousness, and then shove this on top with the cheese and bake them for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And
Okay, and then
that's
it'll be
what
like,
I would do.
and it'll be like 95 degrees in the boat. It'll be great.
Yeah.
This is chicken tortilla soup. It's almost done, but it's got to boil for about 20 minutes so that the tortillas dissolve in there. They're corn tortillas, but it's got a bunch of veggies in it, chicken, and a bunch of seasoning. Yeah, I'll add a little cheese, I'll add a little milk, and then it'll be done. So it's gonna be a cheesy night.
Just look at, I told her I found portobello mushrooms. She looked at me. You found portobello mushrooms?
Where did you find them?
You want in it?
Cheesy and meaty.
How's the fisherman?
Oh well. Those f***ers.
Those f***ers?
f***ers.
How come?
Did you lose the lure?
No, just the bait. The chicken. I gave the rest of it to Yuli. Kind of got tired of it. It was fun, but nothing bigger down there biting.
That
Oh,
174.
I'm in the running though, like a bunch. I had like a bunch of 50s, and only 50s. I might be definitely in the losing at this point. Hard to count that high, isn't it?
Anchoring was a little bit difficult in Isabel because it was so rocky on the bottom. The anchorage really sloped off quickly into deeper water. Jess and Josh decided to anchor a little further out than us, and they were in about 50 or 60 feet if I remember correctly, which meant they had a lot of chain on the ground in those rocks that kind of, if you do that, you have to be willing to either dive down or be really good at retrieving your anchor chain out of that. And all of a sudden I see Oleada, because all of our noses were pointed into the waves, and Jess and Josh were on their boat, and I just remember seeing it move, and all of a sudden, monohulls love going abeam to swell. So all of a sudden I just see the boat, start doing the ear-to-ear rock. I'm like, holy crap, are they leaving? What's going on? And sure enough, I see, Josh stumble out. I think they were taking a nap, and trying to, he's pulling on his line. He just keeps on pulling on that stern hook, and it just comes up with a frayed off end. So their stern hook actually had chafed through and let them spin around. So immediately I'm like, Shannon, go help out Josh, because Josh and Shannon are the only really good free divers amongst us that can dive down that deep without donning our dive gear. And so Shannon got in the water. I decided to film a little bit of it. And yeah, they searched for his stern hook, and in the process of looking for the stern hook, they found another anchor down there. And so in the process of losing one stern hook and regaining it, they actually gained a whole nother stern hook. So good for them. And I think they sold that other anchor at a swap meet for some beer or something like that. So it's all win-win there.
We are leaving Isla Isabel. It is just after sundown, and the sun is actually lighting up the islands out there, which are the Prism Islands, which is actually a really cool backdrop. We had a successful anchor recovery. That anchorage is known to eat anchors, and it almost did on ours. Our stern anchor had a chafe point, and it almost chafed through. So I guess John wants to hear that he was right, that leaving tonight was a good idea. Yeah. But I'll just say it like that. That'd actually tell them though. So we are already, we're doing 4.2. We need to do like a 3.5. 4 is probably, 4.5 is the fast, no. 4 is the fastest we should go.
Okay.
Our next anchorage is only 44 miles away, which is like a full day sail, so it's not quite enough to be a full night sail, so we're gonna try to go as slow as possible so that we do get there by daybreak. Which you don't hear very often. Normally people want to go as fast as possible to get there before nightfall. You know, we're gonna go as slow as possible to get there by daybreak. It's kind of funny.
Next time on SV Prism. We make our overnight sail to Bahia Mantanchen, home to one of the world's longest waves. Surf's up as we test out our red paddleboards and their surfing abilities. Then it's off to the little town of San Blas. There, we soak in the culture, as well as an estuary tour. Did someone say crocodiles? A huge thanks to our donators and patrons for helping fund this show. Without you, there would be no channel. For the latest and greatest from SV Prism, visit our Facebook page and Instagram. For more information on places we have visited, boat projects, and more, visit our website at svprism.com. Until next time, fair winds and following seas.